Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stephen Underwood here with Veterans in Victory Incorporated podcast, and just wanted to get a recording out for tomorrow. Today's Sunday afternoon, so just been kind of enjoying the afternoon and relaxing a little bit. Yesterday was a full day. I don't know if you remember me mentioning or not, but we did go over to veteran Samuel's house yesterday, and we were able to clear out a bunch of accumulated items, furniture, things that I don't know how people accumulate these items, but they do over the years, and they start taking up room. But one of the things I realized the first time after a while of being able to go over there and just spend a little time with Samuel was that because he is an amputee and he relies on a wheelchair and a walker to get around, it was very difficult for him in the current situation that he's in. And so we were able to get all of that cleared out, rearranged to where he has much easier access to his home and get around. And then, of course, with that, because of his disabilities, it's difficult for him to do some of the things, the typical cleaning that you would like to do on a regular basis and all of that. So we did a deep, thorough clean on his living area and kitchen, rearranged all of his food to where he had easier access to that, and was able to get a dumpster over there, which was a huge help. And so I appreciate all those that volunteered their time to come out and work there at Samuel's house. We spent about 6 hours over there working and just cleaning and reorganizing things, and just thankful for that opportunity. We are looking for more opportunities to serve not only our veteran community, but especially disabled veterans, senior veterans, elderly veterans, and even widows of veterans. And as I explained, eventually our goal is to be able to have a lawn care service that would take care of their lawn upkeep. And so that's something that we have huge plans for, looking forward to the opportunities that we have in the future to be able to accommodate that. Currently, I am bidding on a government website for a used passenger van. It's a 1999 Ford Econoline. According to the description, it does have a couple of small mechanical issues that I hope are small because I'm currently the highest bidder. However, if we win this, we're going to be looking at getting a mechanic to be able to make sure that everything is running good, running solid the way that it should. And we are going to start our transportation service to transport veterans in need back and forth from their home to the VA Center for treatment. This would also include when we come across homeless veterans or those that are maybe living in extended stay hotels or motels rather, and those living on the streets that need that care. We're going to offer them those free services as well. I already have, as I've mentioned before, a senior living center that is interested in utilizing our services once we have that availability. And so I'm really excited about the next few weeks as we look ahead to be able to serve our veterans in that capacity as well. So if you'd like to get involved, right now is a great time. We are in desperate need of financial support. We do also need other supplies and things. We've used several of the toiletry items already, the toiletry kit bags that we put together, and been able to pass those out and help some of the veterans in need in that aspect. But we want to go above and beyond, do greater things than simply giving them, toiletry items that may provide some comfort and things like that temporarily. We want to help them see long-term results. We want to see their circumstances changed if they'll allow it. Of course, that's always the key. The help that they receive is something that they have to want. And so we understand that. As I've mentioned before, we're not going to be able to help everyone simply because they're not going to accept it. But those that do, we want to make ourselves available. We want to be that conduit that simply gets them the help they need and get them to the resources that can help them. And so very excited about the opportunities that lay ahead. Just received an email confirmation from an event coming up on August the 3rd. It's going to be at Sam's Club, and so we're going to set up our tent and table and pass out information and help to raise some funds and supplies for school children as they get ready to go back to school, but it's a great opportunity for us to be able to get our information in the hands of veterans and their families as well. And so I'm grateful for many of the invitations that we've received and the opportunities for us to set up and just get our name out in the community. I have joined, as I've said before, the Greater Dalton Area Chamber of Commerce, and in the month of August there's several opportunities to get out and network there. I'm going to be looking into the Chattanooga Chamber of Commerce here very soon and see what it would take to be able to get in on that group and just continue to build our network and our base. One thing about running a nonprofit organization is that we survive off of the generosity of others. And there's seasons that you go through, there's times that you go through that economically it might be more challenging, and when it's challenging at home, it's challenging for businesses. When it's challenging for businesses, guys like us that are essentially asking for funds with no return on that investment, it can also have its own challenges. So we understand that, we want to be conscientious of that, but at the same time, these are such important issues that I believe that if we invest ourselves, if we make some of those small sacrifices, that we can see greater returns simply than just finances, more than just a feel-good feeling at the end of it. But over the long haul, we can see society become better in and of itself. And that's what we want to see, not only for our veterans, but for our communities and the ones that we serve. We want them to have a better life so that they, in turn, are able to invest themselves into society, be contributing members to our society, and which helps us all in the long run. The less homelessness that we have in our community, the better the housing market is, the more the real estate around us is at a higher value, the more we have in the workforce, the more manufacturing we have, the more services that we have, and it's all interconnected. So we can't ignore one problem simply because it requires a sacrifice, because if we ignore it long enough, those problems become greater problems, and then they get out of hand, and then we are fighting an uphill battle. I was talking with a friend of mine just the other day over lunch, and he used the analogy of a snowball. You know, once you start packing the snow together and getting it going, that first little bit can be quite challenging, trying to form it and get it going. You might seem like you're trying to push it uphill, and it's very difficult, but eventually you're going to reach the top, and that snowball is going to start to be pulled by gravity, and it's going to grow and grow and grow on its own. Well, that has both positive and negative consequences to it, because if we're looking at a negative, such as homelessness or drug addiction, that snowball effect can eventually get out of control to where we are now having to slow it, stop it, and then get it going in the opposite direction. Well, the same can be true of programs like what we're trying to offer, the services that we're trying to offer. Right now, we're pushing the snowball uphill. We're trying to gain momentum. Eventually, we're going to top that hill, and then it's going to continue to be a well-oiled machine that is able to help and serve many, many more. Right now, we are focusing on our local area. As I've said previously, I believe that a local problem requires a local solution. We need boots on the ground. We need people who are involved locally that are willing to get their hands dirty and be involved in these projects, because that's the only way that we can see localized change. Now, once that machine gets oiled and going and all of that, then we can broaden our reach, we can expand our efforts, and we can take on new territories. But we need to be able to focus where we are right now and see those changes occur in our not only economy, but our community and society, and then we can look even further beyond our borders. And so, very excited about what Veterans in Victory has already been able to be a part of, and I'm really excited about the future of Veterans in Victory Incorporated. This is one of those things that if I didn't fully believe in it, I wouldn't be investing the amount of time, personal resources that I am to try to make this a success. Already, I can tell you that if we went away tomorrow, the few that we've already been able to help, I can lay my head on my pillow and be content and satisfied that we've made an impact, at least in a few lives. But I don't want to stop there. When we have that momentum going, it only creates a desire to continue going and helping as many people as possible. And so I want to challenge you, I want to ask you, get behind us, support us, take ownership in this opportunity. Yes, there are so many different organizations that you can be a part of. There are so many national organizations that do great work. But for our local community, we need volunteers, we need supplies, and we need your resources that can help the problems that we see in our area. And so we're just continuing to network, to make those connections, and be that liaison between those in need and the resources that are available to get them help. And so thankful for those that came out yesterday and helped at Samuel's house. Currently, there's another project that we're working on. I've been in communication with a gentleman that one of his clients, his brother was an Iraq war vet and lost a battle with cancer, and so they are trying to help them to get his dress blues pressed and cleaned, all of his ribbons and awards put back in order, and dress up his dress blues. And then put them in a shadow box to present to his daughter as a keepsake. And so I'm very excited to have a small part in that, working out the details of how to get all of that together. And that's, something as simple as that. It's a very easy project to be a part of. It takes minimal effort, it takes minimal finances, but it's something that at the end of the day, for that little girl to have a keepsake of her father, and him being an Iraq war veteran, a hero of the United States of America, something that simple will make an impact on her, and she will cherish that for the rest of her life. And so we are just honored to have a small part in that. And so those are the types of things that right now that we want to be involved with, and even moving forward, when we continue to grow and expand, we want to see veterans come out of their homeless situation. We want to see them come out of their drug addiction, their alcohol abuse, and all of that. But we still want to be a part of a lot of those small projects that just help veteran families and help veterans themselves to be able to feel good and content at the end of the day, and proud to have served the country that they did so sacrificially. And so just looking forward to many of the things ahead as we go into the end of the summer months, school starting back. There's more and more events that are going to be available. I'm also excited about the connection I've been able to make with some of my former Army buddies. I talked to an NCO just this morning, and just great to hear from him and how well he's doing. He owns a tree cutting service in the Atlanta area, and just very encouraging to see how he's doing and hear the report there. He was sharing with me how he is helping, and he donates to the local sheriff's office and does different events with them, and other veteran organizations as well. And he had mentioned trying to help us when he has that opportunity. And I'm just so grateful for those that I was able to serve with that also want to invest and be a part of what we're doing. There's something to be said about the military community as a whole. Around the different branches, we all kind of rag on each other. Of course, the Marines will talk about how they're the real branch of military, and then we give them a hard time saying we are just a branch of the Navy, and are a department of the Navy, and they respond, yeah, we're the men's department and all that. There's all sorts of jokes, but at the end of the day, we're all brothers in arms. As a matter of fact, I can remember the relationship that we had with some of the Air Force guys when we needed good equipment and needed new uniforms. They were always very kind to us to help us out, and I don't know how, but they always had an abundance of the best things. And so we made some good connections with them, and did a little bit of trading and wheeling and dealing, and they were always very kind to us. And so, when we talk about that term brotherhood, I've been out of the military since 2010. But I can tell you that there's not one of those guys that I'm still in contact with that I know that I couldn't contact right now in my time of need, and that they wouldn't drop what they're doing to come and be there for me. And I believe that they know that about me. I believe that they know that there's not anything that they could ask of me that I would not jump to try to be a part of and help. And that's really what a brotherhood is. Unfortunately, the reason that the military is really called the real 1% is because 1% of the general population makes up the military, and so we are the real 1%. We are the greatest minority, and but we're also the most elite, because we were the ones that raised our right hand, signed the dotted line, and said, whether by life or by death, I'm committing myself to a cause greater than myself. And so when we signed that dotted line and we raised our right hand and took an oath, we became part of a brotherhood that others do not understand. And we don't expect you to. And that's the thing, is we don't expect you to. I do, however, have expectations that if we call each other friend or family, that you really understand what that means. And I'll just tell you, I've been very guilty of it in the past. I like to think that everybody is for me and is in my corner and there to support and help. But the truth is that most people have ulterior motives. Most people have motives that are self-serving. Well, you cannot have that sort of mindset and that sort of attitude when you are serving others. Because what happens is, when you put yourself in a position where you're not focusing on yourself, you're not focusing on your problems, but you begin to focus on the problems of others and help find a solution for them, it takes the focus off of you, and your problems look so much smaller in comparison. And so when we talk about what brotherhood is, what that means is you might be wrong, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be in your corner trying to help you. You may be way out in left field in some idea. I may try to help and guide and advise you in a certain area, but at the end of the day, I've still got your back, I'm still in your corner, and I am still your friend. Unfortunately, the rest of society doesn't understand that. One little disagreement, one little snide remark, one little sarcastic remark even, and the relationship is severed, it's broken, and there is no repairing. And so that's something that's very difficult for a lot of veterans to really grasp, because we've spent the majority of our career and our life ragging on each other, having those back and forths, even at times being upset with one another. But at the end of the day, we shake hands, we go about our business, and we're still brothers in arms. But it also comes with the assumption that everyone is like us, and that's just not true. It's not the case. I've shared with you how I spent the last decade, actually 12 years, in full-time ministry, 10 of those years being served as a foreign missionary in South Africa, Peru, and Argentina. And we use a lot of the same terminology in ministry as we do the military. We use a lot of those same phrases, but I'll tell you this, the depths of the terminology, the depths and the meaning behind it are not the same. Now, that might make some of you angry that are in ministry. Honestly, I don't care, because I'm just telling you from experience. When you say, oh yeah, you're my brother, or yeah, we're in this together, what that really means is until you upset me. And then I can turn my back and I can go and find something else to be involved with. See, it's not like that in the military. Now, I've had people in the military that have completely written me off, or they've turned their back on me, but at the end of the day, we're all fighting for the same cause, and they'll be there hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, ready to go to battle. That is not true of most other people in society. That's not true in most other cases, and it's a sad reality. That's one of the struggles that we often have trying to integrate and readjust back into a civilian society, is the fact that we have this standard and these expectations of others that just don't understand where we're coming from. And so, just being 100% transparent with you, those that have volunteered to give their lives are often it's very difficult for them to understand how everybody is not the same, because we all took it upon ourselves to volunteer to say, look, whether it's by my life or by my death, I want to serve a cause greater than myself. And so we have that expectation among everyone. And the problem is that everyone else in society cannot live up to it because they've never experienced it. They don't know what that means. They've gone to college and they've been a part of their fraternities or their sororities, and they've been a part of this club or that club, and they think they know what brotherhood is, but they've never stood there in a combat zone, in a danger zone, and feared for their lives and only had their brother beside them to rely on. They can talk the talk, but they do not know what it is to live it. And then it carries on through the rest of their life. And then guys like me, guys that like the ones that I served with, we have a hard time understanding how we will give everything that we can to help and serve others. And they'll say that, but when it comes down to brass tacks, it just doesn't happen. It's never fulfilled. They're empty and vain words. And so that can be very frustrating for us. And so, when we talk about brotherhood, there's a much deeper meaning for a veteran, much deeper meaning of the word brotherhood for a soldier, a sailor, an airman, a Marine, a guardsman. That word carries so much more weight because we know what a real brotherhood is. I don't have to agree with you 100% of the time to still be your ally. I don't have to agree with you 100% of the time to still be your friend. But that's not true of 99% of society today. One disagreement, you're written off, you're worthless, you're forgotten, I'm turning my back on you, and we're done. And that's very difficult for most guys like me to understand. And so what I've learned is I'm having to be very careful about who I look to as friends, who I call and refer to as family, even unfortunately saying I love you. And that's been one of the struggles that I've had, is that I care about others. I really genuinely love people. I've tried to prove that with my life and example. But I've often been let down because the same expectations that I have of myself are not reciprocated from those that have said it back. And so when we talk about brotherhood, when we talk about what it means to actually be a part of something greater than ourselves, it takes on a whole new level of meaning for the veteran, for the service member. And most of society, they just can't understand it. They just can't understand it. And by the way, I shared this not too long ago, and I want to share it here. When you're wrong, the right thing, the man thing to do is own it, accept the consequences, and make it right. Sometimes that's as simple as saying 2 words, I'm sorry. Then it's over and done with. You know what stands in the way of that? Pride. Pride stands in the way of being able to say, I'm sorry. I don't care how many times you reach out or try to amend a relationship, or try to make amends, until you are able to humble yourself enough to look the person in the eye that you wronged and simply say, I'm sorry. That relationship cannot be fixed. This word, it's a Bible word called reconciliation. We are reconciled to God through Jesus Christ. But you know where that begins? With our realization that we have sinned against God and that we have repented. We have changed our position, changed our mind on what that looks like and how we feel about that. And then we accept the gift of reconciliation through Jesus Christ. And then we have a reestablished relationship with God through Him. but it begins with repentance. If you cannot admit that you're wrong, if you cannot humble yourself enough to simply say, I'm sorry, then there cannot be any reconciliation. The sad part is that most people are all right with that. The sad part is that most people don't care whether or not they reconcile a relationship. But I'll tell you this much, I know enough. I don't claim to know a lot, but I know enough to know. My relationship with the one that I worship, that I call my Savior Jesus, it cannot be right if I know I have a broken relationship with someone else. Now, there's only so much you can do. Let's say I wrong someone and I go to them and I say, you know what, I'm sorry. I admit that I was wrong and I want to fix this. If they reject that, then that's off of you. And believe me, I've gone to an individual even as recently as a month ago and said, hey, can we put this behind us? I am sorry. And the response was, nope, see ya. And that was it. I've done my part. It's off of my shoulders. It's no longer my responsibility. And at the end of the day, I can lay my head on my pillow and I can know I've done everything that I can to try to make amends. But until that step is taken, there is no reconciliation. There is no relationship. So I would challenge you, going off on all this, I didn't even plan to talk about this, but it started coming out because we were talking about what real brotherhood is. Brotherhood is being there for the one that is there for you, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what is being asked, regardless of how difficult it is, and just being that support system. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to fight for those who have fought for us. Well, that's our episode for now. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can take away some of the principles behind it. Again, I am trying to tread carefully on being too preachy. However, that's who I am. That's who I was for the last 12 years. So it's going to come out. I don't make any apologies for that. It's going to come out. Just like if we were talking with a doctor at some point, the medical profession and the medical terminology is going to come out. A therapist is going to talk about the mental aspects. So we can't expect that a preacher or a former missionary is not going to talk about ministry. So that's just how it is. When you're so eat up with something that it's in your blood, that's all you can do is talk about it. And so we're going to try to be careful about how preachy that comes across at times, because we want this to be open and available to everyone to be able to get the help that they need. But at the same time, I'm not going to hold back when it feels like it's a good opportunity for it to come out. So, but thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate you supporting the podcast and following along with some of the updates. If you would like to be a part, if you would like to help, volunteer for an event, volunteer for a project that we're doing, or if you can't physically be here, for instance, yesterday cost about $300 for the whole day for us to go over to Samuel's and do cleanup with the dumpster rental and the supplies that we needed for cleaning. And then, of course, we provided lunch. It wasn't extravagant, just pizza for the volunteers and things like that. So it cost around $300 for the whole day. But if you can't be there in person, then help support some of the projects that we're doing. Go to our website, www.veteransinvictory.com, and you can see the button there that says give. There's several different ways that you can give. You can subscribe by supporting us monthly. It's just $10 a month subscription, and it's very easy and user friendly to be able to set up for that. You can give through PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. And if there's another way that you'd like to give or be a part, shoot me a text. My phone number's on the website, or shoot me an email, and I'll be glad to work with you in any way that we can. And we're just grateful for all of you, your support and your care for veterans. And I hope that this is a blessing to you. We want to put out information, but we also want to talk about some of the issues and the mindset that veterans often deal with that maybe the rest of the world doesn't understand. And not because you don't want to, but because you've never experienced it. And so that's why we're putting this information out there. And that's why we're doing the podcast, is so that we can try to open up ourselves to say, hey, this is who we are, this is how we think, and here's why. And so I hope that it's a blessing and beneficial to you. And take some of these principles and just chew on them and just think about them for a while and understand that a friend of mine said this. Actually, his name's David Gardner. He's Austin Gardner's other son, who is currently serving in Peru as a missionary. He said this, and it stuck with me. He said, "People over things always." Let me repeat that. People over things always. So we want to put people first. I don't care how much money I make if it comes at the cost of a relationship. I don't care how much items I accumulate or toys that I have if it comes at the cost of people. So people over things always. And that's who we strive to be here at Veterans in Victory Incorporated. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.